Hi, and welcome back to the Answers You podcast. Here we want to discuss little topics on how to improve relationships, especially the relationship with ourselves, because I'm a firm believer that all relationships we have in our life are a mirror of how we feel within. And of course, there's always lessons and there's always challenges. So, not everything directly reveals how we feel about ourselves, but maybe about a belief we carry or a pattern we engage in that we can shift to feel more empowered, to be more in our truth, and to live in alignment more with ourselves and the ones in our life. So today I want to talk about how we move on when people are clearly showing us that they cannot show up the way we would love for them to show up, or if there's even people who are hurting us, how do we move on from that? So, and I'm talking from personal experience since I recently went through something, and I also feel a lot of people have relationship issues coming up with the eclipse, but also in general because the energies they're heightened, and it's our opportunity to go within and see if those connections are still aligned, or if something has to shift in that relationship, or if this connection is aligned at all. So if someone is not showing up for you the way they want to show, you want them to show up for you, or if they clearly show you that they don't care, or that they cannot show up for you for whatever reason, don't really question so much the reason why, because it doesn't really matter, because we can never look into that person. And of course it's more important when they're really close to us, but it's also always our goal to go within, to see what it is connected to within, because that's the only place where we can shift and create change in our life. We can never change other people, we can only change ourselves. So let's stick with the example if someone is showing you they don't care or they don't treat you well. First of all, it's really important that you sit with the feelings coming up. This can be sadness, this can be anger, it can be resentment, whatever it is. Allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to be with that feeling. Because it's painful, it is hurtful when people are not showing up for us the way we show up for them, or the way we would love for them to show up. But everyone shows up differently, and it's mainly about coming back to us and back to the question, what do we need? So I need someone to show up differently than they may be just able to show up for me. So are they a good fit for my life? That's like the main question where you always come back to. But so if that is happening and you feel like someone is not treating you well, someone is not showing up for you the way you want to, sit with what you feel within. That's step one, because it brings you back to your center. Otherwise, you stay constantly in this triggered state, and it's bad for your body, it's bad for your mental well-being, and it just keeps you stuck, because as long as you do not allow yourself to feel that emotion, it will just be stuck in your system, and you cannot move on from that, and you cannot in any way create the change in that connection or move on from that connection, because you're still carrying that emotional load within. So sit with that. But the second step that is also really important, because most of the time we are only triggered, actually probably most all the time, we are only triggered. I mean, of course, we are feeling sad or we are hurt because someone is showing not up the way we want them to show up, because we care. And we want them to care the same way. And it's hurtful when we feel like they do not or they can't. But the second most important thing about this is, what belief is this connected to? So ask yourself, when there is like problems like this arising, where you feel like people are not showing up for you the way you want to, or you feel mistreated by someone that is in your life, what belief is showing up for you? And most of the time that is deeply connected to the emotion you're feeling. Because most of the time when people are not showing up for us, there is this belief around, maybe I'm not worthy of receiving unconditional love. Maybe that's all I'm worthy of receiving. Or they didn't care at all, whatever belief it is. And maybe it's true, maybe they do not care. But the truth is, you got to look at that belief. And when it comes to belief work, we want to pinpoint it down, whatever it is. We want to say, this is about me thinking that's all I deserve, or that's me not being worthy of receiving love, or whatever it is. So think about what that belief is that this situation is connected to for you, and sit with that emotion that is connected to that. And when you've done that, and you really allowed yourself time to sit with that and sit with your emotions, ask yourself, depending on what experience you had with that person, is that person even worthy of you still giving them energy? Because as long as we allow someone else to change how we feel, to change a time of our day in a certain way because they make us feel bad or they make us feel sad or whatever. So we are not showing up for our life the way we would normally show up because they changed that or they made us feel a certain way. That's us giving our power away, because it's essential to feel your emotions, but it's also very essential after to be able to see it for what it is. It's connected to that person. Do they even deserve you changing your emotional state to something negative because you felt great before? Or they brought you out of your center and now you cannot enjoy that evening you planned or that dinner you went to, whatever it is, because it keeps spinning in your head. Do you really want to allow them that power over you? So for me, recently I learned where I said, no, I felt my feelings. I looked at the beliefs and felt into the beliefs that were showing up for me. But then I came back to the conclusion where I was like, I'm grounded in myself and I love myself. And I know I show up with an open heart for the people in my life. And if people in my life cannot show up the same way, or even show up in a way that is disrespectful or where I feel mistreated, I do not give them the power over me and over my emotional state. So I will remain neutral. I will sit with what I need to sit with and move on from it. So that just for you as your opportunity. And then it's really up to you to decide, do you want to have this person in your life? So whatever they did, does it really deserve space in your life and deserve access to your energy? So really try to compare what you give to what they are giving you back. And that is not to be selfish, but if you are a person that shows up with an open heart and who's respectful and who honors someone else's journey and is truthful and honest and loving, and this is not reciprocated, then that might not be the right connection for you. It might not be the right connection for you if they constantly make you feel bad, or if they constantly bring you out of alignment. Because our connections in our life, they're supposed to be lifting us up. They're supposed to be making us feel seen. And of course, there's always times when that happens, but you gotta see it in the bigger picture where you just ask yourself, is that like a one-time situation where you didn't feel respected, where you did not felt like they were seeing you and being with you in the way you wanted them to show up for you? Or is it multiple times happening? Because then it's probably something that reveals a deeper truth about them and who they are and about how they see you. And that's the other thing that you got to focus on. When someone is mistreating you or is not showing up for you the way you want them to show up, what does it reveal about them? Maybe it only reveals about them that they just need different things, or they don't care that much, not about you, but in general, they just show up in a different way. But is that enough for you? Because coming back, you always got to come back to yourself, not asking yourself, yeah, maybe, or telling yourself, yeah, maybe they can just not show up the way I would love for them to show up, which is fine. No one has to show up exactly the same way you do, but is it enough for you? Like, keep the ball in your corner and ask yourself, is it enough for you? And that's like the final part of this, is when you went through an experience and it was hurtful, sit with your beliefs, feel your feelings. But then also, after you ask yourself, is it like a one-time situation, or is that constantly happening? So do they even fit in my life or not? Ask yourself after you made that decision, so what did I learn from that experience, what I need in my life? How do I need people to show up for me? How do I feel seen? What are non-negotiables for me? Because it's about you, and it's about you improving the way you are connecting to others and people are connecting to you. I hope this was helpful, and I hope this gave you some insights about how you can work through painful experiences or things that are showing up in connections in your life. If you have any feedback or any ideas for other future episodes, you can email me at jane@tan-atara.com, jane@tanatera.com, or you can just leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. Have a beautiful week. Thank you so much for listening to the Answers You podcast, your place to heal and grow in relationships. Follow us on YouTube at Tanatera Healing or on Spotify at the Answers You podcast to stay up to date about our latest episodes and all the things about healing relationships. Or follow us at Tanatera Healing on Instagram to heal stress and anxiety and to learn about mind-body healing. We can't wait to connect.